Hey everybody, we are back on the main stage. So come on back from the networking. I hope you guys also had just a little bit of time to pause and to reflect and finish all your notes. Maybe not 62 pages like Sam took, but finish your notes, finish your thoughts, finish your processing of that incredible keynote that we just had. And come on back from those networking sessions. Once you're here, just give me a little hello in the chat so I can make sure that we've got folks joining us. Don't want to get started without you because, again, we're building this amazing community of people and so excited for you to be joining here. So let me know with a little hello. Hey, Brenlin, nice to see you back here. Anandi, hello, we see you. Amazing. Yeah, if you give me a, oh, Rena, amazing. Samira, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, we've got everybody back trickling in. So as we jump in, I'm just going to share another quick video with you that will kind of set the stage a little bit for where we're heading. Hey, Trinity, Nana, Mana, lovely to see you all back. All right, so here we go.
At Starbucks, being a partner is not just having coworkers or being accepted. It's being embraced for who you are and having a team that cares. It's not just making coffee, it's making a difference. And you start to realize that it's not just work. It's an opportunity to do what you do best. You're not just learning, you're growing and doing something meaningful. And it becomes somewhere you're not just getting by with a job. Instead, you're going somewhere with a career. Other partners aren't just colleagues, they're friends. And this isn't just a company. It's a community. When we're a part of something bigger, we're not just employees. We're partners.
Got to unmute myself. I'm so excited to bring this session to you guys today. When I talk to gappers who are starting out on their gap year journey and we talk about, well, what do you want to do on your gap year? Getting a job always comes up. It's always a priority in terms of earning money, in terms of developing skills, in terms of building new friendships, because sometimes when we're out of school, we lose that. So it always comes up. And when I talk to people about what their dream job is, a lot of them talk to me about being a barista and getting that experience. And it's just such a great synergy that we have our friends from Starbucks here today to talk to us a little bit about those frontline jobs and some of the skills that you can develop and some of the career pathways that lead into having a career of some kind in so many different and interesting ways. So I'm really excited that you guys are here today. So I'm going to welcome you and give a big gap year hello to Jeremy Jones-Julia and Clarice Novstad. We're so excited that you guys are here. So pop in the comment a little hello for our guests, a big welcome to them as we start to share some of the questions that I have for you guys. So welcome.
Thank you.
Amazing. All right. So
hello, everyone.
So you guys have both had a career with Starbucks, and I'm curious a little bit, maybe you can give us a backstory so we get to know you a little bit more. Tell us a little bit about your career journey. Maybe we'll start with you, Jeremy.
Sure. Thanks so much, Michelle. And hi, everyone. I'm Jeremy Jones-Julia. I support our recruitment team for Starbucks Canada. And what that means is the partners, as you saw in the video, that we call our employees, help support hiring everywhere from barista, as Michelle mentioned, up through store managers, district managers, and all of the roles that really work in our support centers or corporate offices. So I'm actually from the US originally, and I joined Starbucks as a barista myself about 22 years ago. I'm what you would call a boomerang partner. And what that means is we've worked for Starbucks in more than one occasion and had time off in between. So we returned. So in the US, I did all of the roles that we had in the store, barista through store manager. When I moved to Canada, I moved here as a store manager as well. And then I've been, on our human resources team, specifically supporting recruitment for the past almost 9 years. And that brings us up to today.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing. Clarice?
I am also a Boomerang employee, actually. Started as a barista about 17 years ago, and just really loved everything that I learned about Starbucks in terms of what they want to do in their communities, how they create what they call the third place. And I was unfortunately moved to a place, couldn't get a transfer with a Starbucks. There wasn't anyone close to my home. So left for a long time and worked in the hospitality industry and got to come back as a district manager about 4 years ago. Loved it, and have been working on what's next for me, and just started in the last week in talent acquisition, working for Jeremy, specifically supporting retail hourly hiring. So exactly the kind of entry-level roles you'd be looking for in a gap year. So excited to share a little bit more and learn about you guys in the chat.
Amazing. So wink, wink. If you guys are looking for a job, this might be a really great place to be. Just going to say that. Just going to put that out there. So a lot of people on gap years, like I said before, are interested in that barista job. And we can kind of like imagine what it would be like, but I haven't lived that job. And there's lots of other people who haven't lived that job. So maybe, Clarice, can you give us a little bit more about what the job entails? What are some of the best parts of working as a barista?
I think there's a lot of really great parts of the job, but the feedback that I always get and the part that I love the most is the people. Not just the interactions you get to have with your fellow partners, but also with your customers. And we really, really encourage people to get to know our customers that are coming into the stores. We always hear about how they met their best friend at Starbucks, or they met the love of their life at Starbucks, because the first priority is always how you connect with others and how you see the people that are coming into your stores. I also think other highlights include free beverages. I'm a huge caffeine addict. So, when you work in the stores, you get your free beverage at the beginning of your shift, at the end of your shift, on every single break. We keep you very caffeinated if that's what you want to do. And then the opportunities to work in your local community. And we really hope to do a lot more of that as we move through the pandemic. As far as the day-to-day, you get to make a lot of drinks, and really the fun part about Starbucks is the customizable part. So you get to have some fun with some experimenting on what tastes good, what doesn't taste good, and share that with the people around you. So I'd say those are the highlights.
That's amazing. And Lily's commenting in the comments there. I mean, she's craving a pumpkin spice latte now.
It's the best time of the year, Lily. It's the best time of the year.
Is there really a time of the year for that? I don't know. I think we can have that all the time. Amazing. But are there some like hidden parts to the job that maybe aren't quite so obvious to the folks? Is there anything that you can give us an inside scoop on?
I think actually the customization is the piece that people forget about Starbucks. Every single drink is handcrafted. You can change the syrups, you can change the milks, you can change the add-ins that we put in, the way that it's built. And so it really becomes a personalized experience. And our baristas really pride themselves on making the best special drink. I know as a district manager, I would often go in and say, make me your favorite. And they'd be like, oh, you've got to try mine. And they'd start kind of competing with each other. You get paid to try different food and coffee tastings. And there's lots of opportunities to grow your coffee knowledge with our Coffee Academy, if that's something that you're interested in. So I think that those are really fun parts of the job. And there's also different ways that you can be creative in the role. So if you're an artist, it's usually our partners that are creating the chalk art in our stores. If you see that on the signage, it's someone local that's making that. If you like to put on special events, we've had partners help with our Barista Championships that we do. We just finished ours this year, or different ways to celebrate like National Coffee Day or an anniversary or any special event that's happening in the store. So I think there's lots of different fun pieces where you can really leverage your creativity in the stores.
That's amazing. Okay, sign me up. Sorry, gap year world. I'm going to make coffee. So I know, as somebody who's worked in a lot of hiring roles, a lot of entry level hiring roles, when I look at a resume, I like skip the education part and I skip like all the things, and I look for certain things, and I look for experience working at camp, and I look for experience of folks working as baristas, because those are things that tell me as an employer that this person has a set of skills that are very transferable and very valuable. So whether it's moving up the ranks within Starbucks or it's taking those skills elsewhere, I know those are things that I look for on a resume. So Jeremy, I'm wondering if you can speak to some of those transferable skills and what are the ones that are most strongly developed in roles like this?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's a great question. And with Clarice and I both being, those individuals that worked somewhere else and came back, I think we both experienced, the teamwork that Starbucks taught us, that ability to work with people from all different types of backgrounds, all ages, all experiences. So that's one. The multitasking, if you've been a customer in a Starbucks store, you see that they're really busy and you see all that's happening there. And everyone in the store is trained to do everything. So, you're making drinks, you're ringing on the cash register, you're cleaning the lobby, you're putting away an order. So, that really helps in so many different environments. And, even in the house, sometimes I find myself creating my little routine so that I can make sure everything's going to be done at the same time. So those are some of the big ones. But I think also leadership skills, as you grow and develop, within Starbucks, you just sort of very naturally, learn how to delegate and how to, identify when you need help with something and asking for that. And just learning how to, again, work well, with multiple other people, in addition to everything that Clarice described around just having fun while you're doing all that.
Yeah, I'm curious if anybody has worked as a barista. So any of the folks who are at the event, what are some of the skills that you took away from your job? I'd be interested to know if what you take away is similar to what these folks are saying. Jess says people skills, 100%. Knowing, even if you get that cranky customer that comes in, knowing how to control your own reaction to that cranky customer and being able to smile and say, have a good day. Like, that is fundamental to your survival in so many roles. So I think that those skills are just so important. So yeah, I think that's really great. And I look forward to hearing what other people share in the chat there as well. Now, I think something that really surprised me in doing my research and in talking with the folks at Starbucks is you guys treat your partners really well. And just for clarification, partners is employees. You're beyond just somebody who works there. You are a partner. And even that language speaks to what that looks like. So what are some of those unique things that I know, because I've done some research, but the folks here might not know, that as a young person working for this organization, what are some of those perks or what are some of those special things that Starbucks offers?
For sure. And I'll just start with the partner, because really the reason why we started being called partners is because back in the 90s, the company started providing stock for all of its employees. And so literally we're partners in the company. Of course, as you said, Michelle, that's evolved into the way that we think about each other, the way that we work with each other. It's amazing to hear leaders who speak about their partners and not their staff or their employees. But the stock is a big one. We've had, amazing stories of partners who started, early in career and were eventually able to buy cars or houses, at least down payments because of the way the stock grew. Clarice mentioned it a little bit earlier around, the free coffee. So that can be, all the time, a 30% discount that you can use in any store in Canada or the US. That can be a free pound of coffee, a box of tea that you get on a weekly basis, or as she said, the drinks that you get during your shift. I think if you're thinking about eventually partnering school with work, the flexible schedule is a huge one. And when we think about the gap year, there's definitely the ability to, if you have the free time to work up to 40 hours, but then, adjust your availability and work a flexible schedule later on. And there's also a tuition reimbursement program. So after you've been with the company for over 6 months, then you get up to $1,000 a year, which can be applied to courses or to books or both. So that's, definitely a huge one. And then I think, one of the things, as Clary said, is the ability to partner with different community organizations to, be developed not only within a role, but to get involved in what we call our partner networks or employee resource groups. And there's 7 existing right now, with 2 more, on the way. So there's just a variety of different, depending on what's important to someone. And then, of course, if you work a minimum of 18 hours a week, you're eligible to enroll in full benefits, medical, dental, vision. So really great programs that apply to every partner that works for the company.
Yeah. And I think it's so important, especially for people who are coming out of high school and we're kind of making this transition into adulthood. And a lot of those things start to become more important. Whereas before we were under our parents' everything, they paid for stuff, they took care of our insurance, they paid for school, all of these things. And now on your gap year, you kind of start to realize, oh, like I'm going to have to take care of that somehow. And to know that there are perks, there are benefits, and having medical and dental coverage and the tuition reimbursement, like all of these things are so critical. And even if I can link this back to what Sam was saying in terms of building a network, Starbucks is networked so well all over. You have incredible employees and you're fostering that sense of community and collaboration and connectedness. And that in itself, there's no monetary value you can put on that, because that connection just makes things so powerful, as everybody in the chat is seeing as we're connecting with each other in this event. It's the same thing that can happen on a much, much larger scale. But I'm curious about one more thing.
Sure.
People on a gap year often want to travel or move around or not be locked into one place. And I know Starbucks is everywhere, or almost everywhere. So is there an opportunity to kind of leverage that on a gap year?
Yes, for sure. One of the great things is a majority of our stores are what we call company operated or corporately owned, which means that, if you're employed at one store, you have the ability to work shifts at multiple other stores. So there's, a little bit of that of, if you want to pick up more hours, even if you need to take a little bit of a trip and need someone to cover your shifts, you can do that. But we have a transfer program as well. So for example, if you start here, but then you want to move to another location to go to school, you can apply for the transfer. We even have some students who are able to, kind of go back and forth. So maybe during the school year, they work at one location, and, when they're off of that school year, they can work at another location. So it's all possible for sure. And I think, in terms of partners being able to work in different parts of the world, we've definitely seen that. Of course, you have to have the ability to legally work in that company or that country, but still, if you have that, and like I said, I worked for 6 years in the US and I've had the rest of my career here in Canada, so it's all definitely very possible, and we've seen careers grow in a really amazing way because of that.
Yeah, I think that's an incredible opportunity for people on a gap year to have that kind of security with employment and being able to leverage that in a really unique way, whether you're staying within Canada and bumping around, maybe going, if you live in Ontario, going out to BC for a bit or whatever that looks like. I think that's really great. And also for everybody watching, we do have a session on International Experience Canada and working abroad and how do you get that visa for working in another country. And there is a work travel visa that would make you eligible to work in another country in 35 partner countries. So if that is something that's on your radar, make sure you come out to that session as well. And you can see how you could marry what you're learning here about the role as a barista and what that might look like working abroad as well. So we've got you covered on all fronts, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But we've touched on the barista side of things a fair bit, but in a corporation, in an organization as large as Starbucks, not everybody is a barista. There are lots of different ways that you can go, different career paths. So you talked about like the creatives doing the chalk art, but like chalk art is one thing in a store, but what does that look like beyond that? What are the kind of other career options that exist out there?
For sure. Maybe Clarice, I'll let you cover, kind of the operations path as we call it, and then I can take some of the other paths.
I think certainly you can move up within operations. So from barista to shift supervisor, that's adding a lot of leadership skills, delegation skills that Jeremy talked about earlier. From there, you can move into what we call our manager and training program, which is a really wonderful program that we have. It's a one-year program that takes you into the store manager role. And it helps bridge some of that management experience if you're developing internally and you haven't had the chance to run your own business before. So it gives you a year to work really closely with another store manager and take on some of the pieces of the store manager role. And at the end of the program, you take on your own role as a store manager. And from there, moving upwards, right? We have store managers move into DM positions, into regional director positions, and all the way up the organization. And I think another piece that I'm really proud of that I'll just plug right here is that all of our partners get partner development conversations twice a year. And so I've had partners tell me, hey, I'm in school for architecture. I want to be an architect. And what I'm really scared about is that I'm going to have to sell my own designs. And she took on the program for how she was going to help the store create a sales program for products that were about to expire. How are we going to start talking about it and helping people learn how to talk about it? So there's different skills that you can develop with your store manager in partnership with your store manager that can lead to different types of opportunities as well.
Yeah, and I think the great thing if you partner those development conversations with, what you're working on outside of the store, the education that you're getting, or even volunteer experience and thinking about, well, I'm studying finance, or I'm studying human resources, or I'm going to get a degree in communications, is that there are paths for that within the company. Similar experience for me. I was studying HR management, and so as a store manager, I was working with my district manager on how do I transition what I'm doing here in the store location, down through another path. And so lots of different opportunities to go in different directions. And we're a little bit smaller in Canada, but we've definitely seen careers grow outside of the country, and to be able to go to Seattle, for example, which is where the global corporate office is. So again, I'll just keep saying it, anything is possible. We have vice presidents who started as baristas, and they've just built their entire they talk about Starbucks being their MBA essentially because of what they learn on the job. So and we have Clarice and I, we spend lots of time having those kind of connects with individuals who are just wanting to know, like, what is out there, what can I work on, and how what activities should I be doing to help me get there.
Amazing.
Yeah, I can share personally, I didn't know what I wanted to do next when I was moving from the district manager position. And we have this great program called Workplace, which is like our corporate Facebook, if you will, that all of our shift supervisors and above can join. And I just sent messages to random people and wanted to learn more about their jobs. We did virtual coffee connects. I learned about communications. I learned about HR. I learned about talent acquisition until I found the one that really worked for me. So I think there's lots of people in the company that would love to help you learn about what your next step might be and what it looks like to get there.
Yeah. And again, I can connect this back to what Sam was talking about in the keynote today. He was talking about that networking and that asking people and having those conversations. And that's built into the structure, that's built into the infrastructure within what you guys are talking about. And I think that is such a powerful piece to be able to leverage. But let's get to the nitty gritty. So if this is sounding good to folks, if they're like, now this might fit into my gap year plans. How would somebody go about applying for a job? What does that look like?
Oh, I think this one's me.
Yeah.
The best way to apply is always our career website, starbucks.ca/careers. And we also always recommend that you just pop into your local store. If there's a store that you'd love to work at, go in, meet the team, meet the manager. It helps your name be front of mind when they're looking through their applications. It also lets you know what the culture is like, and really helps you feel more comfortable when you come in for your interview. And then I'd say lastly, I believe Michelle's going to direct you to a wonderful booth. We would love to get your information and get to know you, so we can pass you on to some of our hiring managers and get you set up in some of our stores.
See, we told you, come out to the event and magic will happen. So as Clarice just said, there is a booth over in the expo down there somewhere that Starbucks has put together for you. And there is a slideshow that has some incredible information that kind of summarizes a lot of the stuff that we talked about today. And as you click through and learn a little bit more about it, when you get to the end slides, there's actually some links to where you can actually apply and where you can leave information. So slide 16 actually has a little portal that you can leave your information with, and they're actually giving away tons of prizes. So above and beyond what we're giving away, if you drop your name in there, they are going to be giving away some free coffee. So if you need a little bit of caffeine, think this job might be right for you, head over to that booth, and it's a great place to get things started. So Jeremy, Clarice, thank you so much for being here. Also, thank you for supporting us to be able to deliver this event free of charge to all the participants. Super grateful for all of your support. And I know that there are going to be lots of future baristas in this gang that are going to be coming your way. So thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Good night.
Amazing.